buy or sell. Anthony Richardson will be a top 7 fantasy quarterback this season. We're keeping this realistic here. We know that nobody would think that he'll be in the top 3, probably not even the top 5. How about top 7, George? Buy or sell?
If he stays healthy, top 5 is not out of question here at all. He's a running quarterback. We know how valuable they can be. My worry is going to be what I mentioned when we talked about the Indianapolis Colts. Boy, man, if Pittman were to go down, there's not a lot to throw. He'll be running for his life half the time there. I like Richardson a lot. Small sample size of what we saw of what he's going to be. I played the 5 games last year before the injury here. So for a longer season, we'll see if he gets to catch up to him, what he can do. He's going to have to prove he can throw the ball. He'll be down the field here. I'm going to buy this. All right, I want to buy on Anthony Richardson. I want him to be that guy because I want to see the excitement that he can bring. I think smart money might say go the other way because there's so many quarterbacks in that tier that hey, he could have a good year and still not finish top 7. That being said, I think he will show just like he did last year. He's going to be dynamic. I'm buying top 7.
Yeah, reminds me so much of Cam Newton in the early days too. I'm going to sell on this. I think it's too high. I think most leagues take away points for interceptions. If that's the case, I think his numbers are going to be 20-something touchdowns, 15, 16-something interceptions. That's going to negate some stuff. Yes, he will run. Can he play an entire season? Still very questionable for me. I have him as the 9th best fantasy quarterback at the end of the season, just outside the top 7. So I'm going to go sell on that. Good morning. Welcome to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Craig Mish with you here on this midweek edition of the show. We get ready for some Thursday night football. We'll get a preview of that coming up in just a little bit. Matt Lutovsky will join us from Sporting News. In addition, Matthew Waters joins us from Legal Sports Report. Some very interesting developments with a company called Bet365 and a wager that occurred on Monday night. So we'll get into that as well. Also, Simon Applebaum of the podcast Tomorrow will be televised. We'll go over the very latest in sports news notes, information from the sports betting universe as it pertains to broadcast news as well. But before we get to things going on the field in the NFL, we take care of the story that has been going on now for 3 days off the field. The very latest on this incident that happened with Tyreek Hill in the Miami-Dade Police Department takes yet another turn as Hill is calling for a police officer who was involved in the incident to be fired. You saw the incident, I'm sure, on social media, and you saw the video. And of course, well, he is asking that the police officer who was involved in the incident be fired. His attorney, Julius Collins, released a statement on Tuesday night demanding the immediate termination of the escalating officer who was placed on administrative leave as a result of Sunday's incident. The officer, who's been identified as 27-year-old Danny Torres, was one of several officers when Hill was pulled over. They said that Hill was uncooperative. Body cam footage released Monday showed that after an altercation, Hill was instructed to exit his vehicle. Ultimately, he was forced to leave his vehicle, and then Torres was redirecting him, as you could say, to the ground. But needless to say, we just are hitting the tip of the iceberg with this story, as it looks like a lawsuit probably would be coming, I would guess, from Tyreek Hill. Meanwhile, what is going on with this Bet365, this company who, certainly has been around for a really long time? They had a wager on Monday night that involved Jordan Mason of the San Francisco 49ers and essentially decided to void a lot of the wagers because the odds simply changed as he became the starting running back in the game. And I want to dive more into this coming up a little bit later in the show. We will talk, of course, with Matthew Waters from Legal Sports Report. We'll dive in more and get into it as well. Also, the Miami Dolphins made an announcement just a short time ago. Raheem Mostert, their starting running back, along with Devon Achane, they both play. Mostert is going to miss Thursday night's game against the Buffalo Bills. So he is out. Mike McDaniel just made the announcement. It looks like Jalen Wright will get an opportunity to play. Achane, by the way, is questionable going into the game. He will be a game-time decision So keep an eye on that as we do the show tomorrow. Meanwhile, the NCAA is facing another lawsuit. This is $50 million in the form of class action. These are former Michigan players who played at a very high level for the Wolverines. In fact, one of them on the cover of a college football game, Denard Robinson. You may remember him from many years ago. Also, wide receiver Braylon Edwards, they filed a class action lawsuit against the NCAA and Big Ten seeking $50 million for being wrongfully and unlawfully denied their opportunity to earn money off their NIL, their name, image, and likeness. The lawsuit says that the NCAA and the Big Ten Network have systemically exploited these iconic moments that the players created during their careers at Michigan. The lawsuit, on behalf of those who played for Michigan before 2016, of course, NILs came into play in 2021. So that is the latest in the NFL and the latest on the Miami Dolphins as well. As far as running backs are concerned, Raheem Mostert, not the only one who could potentially miss a game coming up this week. It looks like Christian McCaffrey could miss another game. His Achilles injury right now seems to be bothering him. In a conference call, Kyle Shanahan said McCaffrey would be monitored on a day-to-day basis. McCaffrey had said that if it was a playoff game, that perhaps McCaffrey could play, but Jordan Mason played so well in his absence. The thought is Mason will play yet again this week, but we'll see. You never know. I mean, we didn't know going into the Monday night game. We don't know going into this week as well. Derek Brown out for the year with a knee injury. He was placed on injured reserve. You heard about this injury coming off that game against the Saints. So Carolina picking up the pieces as well. The defendant in the Ricky Pearsall shooting, Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver for San Francisco, faces 3 criminal charges, the most of which is, of course, attempted murder. His lawyer is hoping that a video of the incident will help on that charge, and the footage is being shared with prosecutors at the moment. Meanwhile, this other case that's coming in now against Deshaun Watson is a review of a 2020 sexual assault case, and the NFL is looking into the complaint. Needless to say, this is separate from any of these other massage cases that came up previously that caused Watson to miss a lot of time. Watson's due a lot of money. Who knows if these two things are correlated, but needless to say, the NFL is looking into this latest incident as well. All right, weather is going to be a factor in the Southeast this weekend as a hurricane has its eye on Louisiana and the South. Now, meanwhile, it will not affect any games going on in all likelihood in Louisiana on Saturday because the hurricane will push through there, but South Carolina is now in focus as they take on LSU. With the Gamecocks getting 7 points, there's a chance that that game may have to be moved. Now, no word on where it will be moved to or when or anything. There's some historical context here. Sometimes they move games to Sunday morning due to a hurricane. Maybe that is the case here. Auburn senior quarterback Peyton Thorne on Tuesday said criticism after losses, especially the one to California, has included people asking him for money on Venmo. You know those Venmo requests that you've probably gotten before. People are hitting up this quarterback saying, you lost me money. Send me money via Venmo. Here's a tip for anybody who's complaining about this. Make your account private. You never have to get a request ever again. Private. Easy to do. I'm private on Venmo myself. Riley Leonard, quarterback of Notre Dame, re-injured his labrum on his non-throwing shoulder against Northern Illinois, and he went to undergo an MRI on his left shoulder, and he's expected to play against Purdue. Got that out right, wrong? I don't know if I said it right. SMU's coach Rhett Lashley said Tuesday Kevin Jennings is going to start at quarterback moving forward. Preston Stone started the first 3 games of the season. Lashley said throughout the preseason he would play Stone and Jennings. So a change coming for SMU as well. Not a huge surprise there. All right, now over to Major League Baseball. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He is back. He returned to the mound. And they were hoping, of course, that he gets fully healthy. And for the postseason, the Cubs beat the Dodgers 6-3. But the important thing is that he threw fastballs at 96 miles an hour. So Yamamoto is going to be back for the Dodgers. Only a couple of weeks to go in the season. And then he's going to start a game in the postseason. Probably game 2, game 3 would be my guess. Kyle Schwarber said the Major League Baseball season record for home runs from a leadoff hitter. He hit his 14th leadoff home run on Tuesday against the Rays. He hyperextended his left elbow, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But what an incredible record. Phillies beat the Rays 9-4. There's also a bench-clearing non-brawl in that game as well, if you want to go back and watch it on video. Meanwhile, the Texas Rangers, they're not completely out of it. I mean, any team that wins a few in a row can jump back in it. And so in addition to Kumar Rocker being called up, Jacob deGrom is coming back. Max Scherzer is coming back. Both are expected to join the Rangers rotation, at least for the end of the season. We'll see if it makes a difference for them. But again, the Rangers several games back of a wild card spot. And Orioles win, Yankees lose. I mean, this is going on every night. So now Baltimore is a half game back in the American League East. We'll probably play this game for the rest of the season. All right, there's an ex-Suns employee that is seeking $60 million in damages in a discrimination complaint. And this is a former employee who is claiming discrimination and wrongful termination, seeking $60 million in damages. This is a 25-page statement that was released in August 2024. Andrea Trishan is the ex-employee. She was the Suns program manager of diversity, equity, and inclusion. She filed it with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. We'll keep an eye on that in the future. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said Tuesday there wasn't a discussion of expansion just yet, but it will be addressed at some point this season. We know that the NBA wants to add at least 2 more teams to the league in the next couple of years. Also, they expanded the coaches' challenge reviews on out-of-bounds play for the upcoming season. So that could have affected a playoff game that we saw a mistake happen this past postseason. We'll see how it helps in the regular season. And also tonight in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark and the Aces, or the Fever, back at it. Aces are 3.5-point favorites. Total are 178. Fever plus 134 on the money line. And, of course, the most important story from the day as we honor the lives that were lost on September 11th, 2001, a day that we should never forget. Thoughts and prayers to all of them.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. It's time to take a look at Week 2 in the National Football League because we don't have a chance to recover from Week 1 with these Thursday night games in the NFL. They just come fast and furious. Mike DeCourcy is with us to discuss it. I was talking about this the other day, Mike, with someone that, you know, I like the fact that there's Thursday games, okay, but I sort of miss the days where I got to take a deep breath and then wait for Sunday to come again. But it feels like once you get to Tuesday, you better get ready for Thursday immediately.
Craig, you think you needed that breath? How about the guys that are getting hit by 300-pounders on a regular basis on Sunday afternoon and then have to recover and get ready for another football game on Thursday. It's a fact of life now. We've had it for a long time. I've learned to live with it and sort of look forward extra rest they get on the opposite end of that game. It's just one of those things. Although I do wonder about the whole Christmas Day situation this year. The NFL's desperation to get on Christmas Day so much that they decided to go on Wednesdays now.
Yeah, I got you. There's a good bet, by the way, for you, Mike, if you want to place a bet for Christmas Day. It's me working here at SportsGrid on Christmas. I got a streak going here. You can bet on that. It's like minus 700, I think, on that one. All right, so game of the week in the NFL. One of them, Bengals at Chiefs. We've seen a little money coming here on Cincinnati, and to me, Mike, that does make some sense. The Bengals have played the Chiefs very well through the years, sometimes winning, sometimes losing. But, honestly, a strange line to me, to be fair, Mike, because, I mean, the Chiefs just played Baltimore. They were like 2-point favorites. Now, all of a sudden, because of one bad game for the Bengals, they moved to 5.5. I don't know. I sort of think the Bengals will bounce back here. I don't know if they'll win, but maybe a close game. What do you think?
This is how the NFL works, Craig. Cincinnati plays horribly against a poor was expected to be on it. We can't know for sure what course New England is going to take, but on paper, they certainly were not expected to be great. The Bengals lose meekly in that game, and then the Chiefs go out and play a sizzling game. Not a brilliant game, but a sizzling game, certainly, against the Ravens NFL opener. And it looks like easy money. How is it not easy money? But you look over the history, not of the Bengals versus Chiefs, but more so the Chiefs with Mahomes versus Bengals with Joe Burrow. And what you see is a lot of really games. It goes one way or the other, but it's always really close. The only margin of significance, it was an 8-pointer last year for KC, was after Burrow was hurt. So I totally understand money going into to Cincinnati. At some places I've seen 6. Obviously, 5.5 is the number we're using. Though I totally understand, feel that way, even though the Chiefs were very good and the Bengals were very poor in Week 1.
Yeah, and I think when I look at this game, I look back and the first 2 games of the season under Zach Taylor, the Bengals have just simply struggled. I mean, they've gotten off to 0-2 starts 4 of the past 5 years. And so there's some track record for this, whatever it is. But Taylor has been a good coach, let's be honest, with the Bengals through the years. Even without Burrow last year, they sort of, held it down until they could, as long as they possibly could. And, in the end, it was a lost season for them. But I think the bottom line is the Bengals do get right at some point. Also, Jamar Chase has been holding out. They've had some issues. T. Higgins has been hurt, too. Let's take a look real quick at the odds to win the AFC and where the shifting has happened over on the FanDuel Sportsbook. The Chiefs have become a little bit more of a favorite. Houston is hanging tough where they were. Baltimore fell back a little bit. Buffalo moved up slightly. The Jets fell back a little bit. Miami moved up a little bit. Cincinnati moved down to 11-1. But there wasn't a massive I've seen overreactions to the games this week, Mike. I didn't see much of one over on FanDuel to win the AFC. And at least that makes me confident that what we thought going in, probably we should give a little bit more time before we react to that.
Yeah, although I would say that, again, I think it's more about who's in there and has decent odds than it is about KC. KC is a strong favorite. It doesn't mean they necessarily get it done. Right now, what Kansas City is building is similar to what Pittsburgh built in the 70s. And even in the core of that dynasty, I mean, they won 74, 75, 76, they had injuries, 77, they weren't very effective. And then 78, 79, they come back and do it again. So injuries and elements such as that can have a significant impact on whether or not a team goes on. So that number for Kansas City, it's really hard to get excited about them. But to put Buffalo in at the number that they are, obviously fantastic, but this is not as strong a Buffalo team as what we saw in the past. And I think the fantasy. There was nothing on Monday night that suggested they're going to be special. I understand Aaron Rodgers has been extraordinary. I don't know if he's extraordinary now. It's still possible, but I just don't see the Jets being involved in that at all. It doesn't make any sense. The Texans are the team that has a chance to make the biggest jump to go from really, really good last year in their first year with the new quarterback to perhaps special. And they weren't special in week one, but we'll see if they can manage that.
All right. Now, the team that you follow very closely, the Pittsburgh Steelers, with an impressive kicking effort last week against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons learned the hard way that you can add a lot of pieces over a 2-year period, a new coach, a new quarterback, and everything else. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. And the Steelers are 3-point favorites this week over the Denver Broncos. Normally, I would like to fade Pittsburgh in this spot, but I don't like Denver. And the other thing that I would say, Mike, is that when J.J. Watt was playing in the NFL, I would have bet $1 million that he would have a brother that would come to the NFL and be better than him. Like, I mean, he is the most dominant player on the defensive side in the NFL right now.
Yeah, it's been a hard time convincing everybody of that, but he certainly is. If he's out on the field for his full shift on Sunday, I think they win. But there is the problem at quarterback right now with Justin Fields filling in fine, but not great in game one against the Falcons, but still not knowing whether Russell Wilson is ready to go. He's still half injury. That makes it really tricky to get on this game at this point.
Fair enough, Mike. Thanks for coming on.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. We're going to dive into Thursday night's game between Miami and Buffalo on the NFL football field. Also a really good game in college football on Friday, and also previewing the Conference USA college football matchups this weekend. Time now for the SportsGrid Sound Off. All right, well, in case you missed some NFL action over the weekend, the Buffalo Bills defeated the Arizona Cardinals as Josh Allen dove into the end zone for one of the critical scores in the game. But on the play, it looked like he fell on his left hand and immediately looked up and then looked down and looked at his hand and said, "Am I okay?" Well, the good news is that X-rays did not reveal any break or fracture or anything else to that left hand. The bad news is that we really don't know if it's going to affect him at all coming up on Thursday night against the Miami Dolphins. But Allen, of course, will play. He met with the media and basically said it's not his right hand, nothing to worry about.
Felt like I threw it well today and was able to do all the things, so ready to go. I've done it a long time ago, a couple cold games, and so it's not anything that's completely new to me, but just there for a little extra help. Well, I mean, I think they're just saying that it's a long way from the heart. I like to say it's a long way from the right hand, so we're okay. The way that we're able to communicate, I think our offensive game plan, schematically, the things that we're able to do on a short week because of the stuff that we've put in through training camp, the stuff that is in our, I guess, standard game plan that we can call at any time is pretty exotic. And some of the things that we can do on the ball helps us out in that area.
So Allen will play against Miami, but Miami announced earlier today, in case you missed it, that one of their running backs, Raheem Mostert, has been declared out for the game on Thursday night. So adjust your fantasy lineups accordingly if you are someone who was going to play Raheem Mostert. Now, one of the best college football games on the weekend slate features two teams in the top 25. Kansas State plays Arizona. But folks, the game is coming faster than you think. It's actually on Friday night, not Saturday night, as our very own Ben Stevens has a preview.
The best game of week 3 of the college football season, it's not on Saturday, it's on Friday night. 14th ranked Kansas State hosts number 20 Arizona. Although conference foes in the Big 12, this game was scheduled long ago as a non-conference matchup, so it does not count to the Big 12 standings. It's a peculiar game with the Friday night setting in the Little Apple, that is Manhattan. K-State at home laying 7.5 points against Arizona. Total is 58.5. There was no better underdog team in the entire country last year than the Wildcats of Zona. Arizona, a perfect 6-0 against the spread, covering by an average margin of 17 points per game. But Arizona as a favorite so far this year, no covers. Same story for K-State, 0-2 against the spread, but greater than a touchdown number on Friday night in Manhattan, Kansas. Craig, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Ben. 7.5 points right now over on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Meanwhile, one of the premier matchups in Conference USA coming up this weekend is right in my backyard. In fact, a little bit earlier than usual, Florida International takes on Florida Atlantic this weekend. That's a premier matchup in the conference, considering that these two teams don't like each other all that much. In fact, the Owls of FAU have been dominating this series. Let's check in with Kevin Barral. He's got a preview of the game.
Alrighty, thanks, Craig. This week in Conference USA, there's a big matchup down here in South Florida between the Florida International Panthers and the Florida Atlantic Owls, also known as the Shula Bowl, which is named after former Miami Dolphins head coach Don Shula, who led the Fins to a 17-0 season, never done in the NFL. Now, the biggest storyline entering this game in regards to both teams is how dominant the Owls have been in these last couple of years in the Shula Bowl itself, winning 6 in a row and FIU's last win in Boca Raton decided the Shula Bowl in 2024, last coming in 2012. Thankfully for FIU, they'll have Keywan Jenkins, the reigning Conference USA Offensive Player of the Year. Now, in another huge conference matchup, we have the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry between Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee, a matchup which has been dominated by the Hilltoppers. TJ Finley, the star quarterback for the Hilltoppers, is looking to take his strong week against the FCS opponent into this conference matchup, looking to go 1-0 in conference play. Back to you, Craig.
All right, thanks very much, Kevin. Also, weather could potentially be a factor in that game in South Florida as well. We'll be right back with Matthew Waters from Legal Sports Report. Don't go away.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. We got Matthew Waters with us from Legal Sports Report. I mean, let's be honest, one of the bigger stories coming out of week 1 in the NFL, I mean, so many people play fantasy football these days. To sit here and ignore it is silly. This kid, Jordan Mason, who played for Christian McCaffrey in the game, it was the big story of Monday Night Football, so much so. Matthew Waters is with us. I'm playing, of course, fantasy football, 1 league in a dynasty league. I have McCaffrey. I don't have Mason. Somebody else has Mason. We're going back and forth on the trade. I mean, everyone is playing that game today. But what happened on Monday night, it took another turn that we want to get into, Matt, here on the show, because I want to dive into this deep. So all of the sportsbook have the odds here on how much Mason will play. Will he score? How many carries will he get? I mean, this is why the sportsbooks are making so much money, because they can offer all of these exotic props that nobody's interested in at all. But somebody was interested over on Bet365 on the over on Jordan Mason's rushing yards. What happened here, Matt? Did they not want to pay the odds that they initially put up? What happened?
Yeah, this is a tricky situation, Craig. Basically, what happened is Jordan Mason, his line for rushing yards was set at 13.5 on Bet365. And, it's not crazy that people went on and decided to bet on the backup running back for San Francisco when, we've been hearing all of last week and throughout preseason how CMC was hurt, right? So not surprised that people took this bet. The problem is that 13.5-yard line was up after CMC was announced as out. And I'm not sure how long it was up, but it was up enough that some people jumped on it as well. So you have these bettors that, they bet before or they bet after the news and they're thinking, great, we're in. Then some emails were sent out saying, look, this was an obvious error to have this line listed at minus 110. And Bet365 said that they would be paying out those bets at minus 5,000 odds. That is not really how it's supposed to work. We have situations in the United States. Obviously, we have different rules all across the board. And Bet365 is an international company first. And in international jurisdictions and in some U.S. jurisdictions, operators are allowed to void bets that are obvious mistakes. They call them palps, right? That can happen if maybe a game isn't taken off after it starts. The pregame money line is still up. There's a lot of situations where that can happen. Some places let you just wipe it out. Some places like New Jersey do not let you just wipe it out. You need regulator approval to go back and change anything to do with any bets.
Mm-hmm.
And so we found out that on Tuesday morning, Bet365 had reversed its course, and it said, look, we're sorry for any confusion about that. I don't think anybody was confused. I think what happened was Bet365 said they were doing this, and then they changed their mind. But, for anyone under confusion, that's fine. The important thing is that these people are getting paid out for the bets that they placed. But it is a headache here for Bet365 because this isn't the first situation that they've had issues with this. And it's a bad look, right? It's just simply a bad look when you have so many sports books to choose from and you're betting with Bet365 because you know that they have a great international reputation. You get a bet that you think is good for you, right? I got one. And then it's backed out to minus 5,000 bets. It's not a good look. They got a lot of heat on social media about it. It spread very quickly. And, just hours later, they were backing out of it. So it went the right way. But it was a shame to see this from Bet365 because this isn't the first time, Craig.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, for me, super disappointing because anybody who bets on sports knows, and especially when you're making bets like this, the odds of you personally getting over on a sports book with a bad line, I mean, what is it? 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000? And so the one time you get over for them making a mistake on a bad line or not adjusting it quickly, they're not going to let you take advantage of that. Horrible look, I thought, personally, for Bet365. Every once in a while you take an L, they'll build another app on all the money you lose in the future. I mean, understand it. Get with it, folks. I mean, this is the way it works. Silly company here making that decision. Meanwhile, another fine for them along the same lines in New Jersey. What happened here?
Yeah, and we just reported on this yesterday, Craig. Bet365 has now twice in the last 2 months, it was in July and then again in August, that they were fined for doing just this in New Jersey, for changing bets after the fact without New Jersey's permission. And they're not happy about that. New Jersey is not happy about that this is a consistent issue for Bet365 because we're not talking about a small sports book here that doesn't have the money or the capacity to make sure that all of their markets are correct. Bet365 is potentially the biggest regulated sports book in the world. They make money hand over fist. It's owned privately by Diane Coates in the UK. They're not hurting for money. They're not hurting for resources. And yet now they've been fined, I think it's about $550,000 over these two different fines from New Jersey for changing bets after they have been placed and after they should have settled without New Jersey gaming. And the Attorney General's office oversees that. We reached out to them as well, and they did not comment on whether Bet365 would be facing some kind of backlash or some kind of fine that they have to pay for doing this with Mason. Because remember, it's not that they said, well, we might. No, they sent out the email saying we are going to settle these bets this way. And so we can't say, they came to their senses and decided not to do it. Well, no, they did do it. And maybe somebody said, hey, wait a minute. Remember how Jersey said that we can't do this again? And, you would love to know what those conversations, what the Slack channel looked like when in those waning hours of Tuesday morning. I don't know. If I'm New Jersey and I have specifically said now, don't do this again, and they do it again, I'm coming back with a fine, even though they decided against it. It's a black eye enough, like you said, Craig, with the Mason issue, but now we're looking at this being a repeated issue, and not just a repeated issue, but something that they did after being clearly told by one of the best regulators in the U.S. Don't do it again. We will take further action against you. So we're clearly going to be watching this. It takes some time for these issues to work their way through the DGE. So I don't know when we would get an answer on it, if we ever do at all, right? I guess if we go 2 years without hearing about them getting fined, then they didn't get fined.
True.
But I can't see the DGE being too happy about this.
Yeah. I mean, what's so odd about this story is that other sports books are giving out money for bad beats, and these people get beat bad and won't accept it. Just so strange to see this. And you're right, public relations is a big part of this. They get an F for that. All right, let's talk real quick. We got a minute to go here. Some stock updates, some target updates here on a sports book. Give us the latest here. Sorry, running out of time. 30 seconds.
Yeah, you know what? Head over to LSR to check this out. We touch on the note.
Okay.
Basically, some of the gaming stocks are being tweaked down by analysts over consumer spending habits, but the NFL season should really help the digital portions of those stocks is the gist of it, Craig.
Yeah, we ran out of time. So head over to LegalSportsReport.com to read about that story and a whole lot more. Matt, thanks for the insight on the show today. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Simon Applebaum's up next.
There's going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire. We've got Simon Applebaum with a podcast tomorrow. Will be televised. We'll dive into how Tom Brady performed in Week 1. Everybody has an opinion how he did on Fox. Simon, great to have you back here on NewsWire.
Great to be back. And I'll tell you, yes, social media is buzzing about Tom Brady's performance with Kevin Burkhardt on Fox on Sunday afternoon, that big game. And a lot of it's negative. And I just say one thing. Hey, John Madden didn't start out big either. Tony Romo didn't start in the same boat. So to all the social media people, cool your buns. I mean, Tom didn't make stupid mistakes. He didn't go crazy. The issue basically has been, he should have been more enthusiastic. He should have been more upbeat, et cetera, et cetera. He'll get there. Give him time. He's just one game in. He's got Kevin Burkhardt doing play-by-play with him. He's got a good Fox producer. They will give him the time. And He may not be John Madden. He may not be Pat Summerall, but I think he will do pretty well. And incidentally, great debut by Joe Davis and Greg Olson on their game. No question about it. They will become a great announcing team.
Yeah, and Joe Davis, fantastic on baseball for many years as well. All right, so I'm going to tell my quick side story, how I'm aware of Vizio launching this new Sports Zone feature that we're going to talk about. How did I know that it existed? I'm going to tell you, Simon. Here's how. Because over the weekend, my hot water heater in my house exploded, and it destroyed almost anything on the floor in my garage, including my modem. So for the weekend, I had no internet. Now, when my internet popped back up and I reconnected my Vizio TV, something called Sports Zone popped up. And I'm like, what is this? This was not on my TV like a week ago. So that's the negative. The positive, everything's fine, Simon. Everything's okay. I got internet back. Everything is cool. Everything is clean. But what is this new Sports Zone on my TV that I gave a couple clicks to with my new internet? I was not familiar with this.
No, it just started a week ago, and they were demonstrating it at the opening of NYC TV Week here on Monday with an executive from there. It is a new home screen devoted to sports, by sport and by team. And with your voice or you click your remote, you're able to go to the sport you want to do, whether it's baseball, football, men's, women's basketball, pro, college, etc. And then you're able to go to the teams you want to see, whether you want to see a live game or you want to see a replay game or you want to find out more of an upcoming game. But that's not all, as was demonstrated this past Monday morning. You'll also be able to set up schedules in advance of what you want to watch, when you want to watch it. You'll be able to get interactive scoreboard and stat boards. And what's more interesting is, and it wasn't mentioned in the press release that Vizio came out with last week, Craig, is that you'll be able to order Starbucks food, maybe a pizza from Domino's or Papa John's or somewhere else. And I bet you that if this works, this interactivity works and it's secure, don't be surprised if maybe we see this become a tool for sports betting, not just on Vizio, but also on Roku, which has an NFL zone going on right now, following the success they had with the NFL Olympic zone. With NBC Universal. I think other smart TV set makers like Samsung, LG, TCL, they will also follow with a zone-type approach to home screens. So this could be the beginning of a major movement about how to watch sports and maybe ultimately how to bet on sports through the television set.
Yeah, no, very interesting to follow, and I did see that pop up on my screen, so gave it a little look over the weekend. All right, so look, this battle with this Diamond Sports Company and these regional sports networks, we're just seeing one by one. I mean, honestly, I don't know how Diamond Sports is staying in business. They're claiming they're going to continue with the NBA and the NHL. Simon, they don't even know what they're going to do about baseball. Major League Baseball is fighting them. They want them out. But anyway, Diamond Sports basically said we cannot afford to have the Dallas Mavericks anymore as part of our network. So the Mavericks are on their own. What have they created here, Simon? What are their broadcasts going to look like next year?
It's going to be a statewide service on broadcast television on stations owned by Tegna, one of the largest station groups in the country. And what they will do is any Dallas Maverick game that is not being run on TNT, on ABC, on ESPN, etc. this coming season will run on this network, along with pregame, postgame programming. In addition, the Dallas Mavericks are also looking at the possibility of doing their games in Spanish on Spanish-language television stations in Dallas and otherwise. And by the way, if I'm a Univision or a Telemundo broadcast station or Estrella Media, etc., I'd be thinking about maybe talking to my local NBA, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League team, etc., about doing Spanish-language versions of their games. And speaking of Dallas, that's not the only issue that's happening with Dallas. There's a new service that just started today. It was presented yesterday at the Next TV Summit here in New York called Victory Plus. They have made deals with both the Dallas Stars and the Anaheim Ducks in the National Hockey League. So when their regular season begins, they will do a regional sports network featuring those games on smart TV sets and smart TV devices. So for example, in Dallas, they will have the Stars games on a 4-state network. So if you're in Texas, if you're in Oklahoma, and you're Louisiana, you'll be able to get Dallas Stars games in that area. If you're in California Oregon, Washington, you will get the Ducks games. Plus, you'll get other programming. I was talking with the Victory people yesterday. They're talking to other sports leagues, other sports teams about doing programming that would run either on either channel or both channels. They're also talking about doing sports programming, let's say interview shows, pregame, postgame, etc. So Victory Plus may be setting up a model for how we could see regional sports services pop up not on cable, but on smart TV sets and devices.
Yeah, we're headed in a different direction with all of this, and I think that's a way to go for Dallas, and I think you're going to see this next for Major League Baseball. I think you're going to see a lot of teams pull out of their contracts there. All right, Simon, I'm one of these old school people that still have DirecTV. I called DirecTV a couple days ago. I'm like, all right, I'm out. You know, like you guys are just not going to have ESPN anymore, I guess. And they're like, take this money and stay with us. So I'm a sucker. I took it. A lot of money off to continue on with DirecTV. So I guess with that money, I could just get ESPN Plus and watch it. And I think that's probably what a lot of people are doing, Simon, at this point. There's no end in sight.
And it doesn't look like there's going to be an end, Craig. DirecTV has filed a complaint with the Federal Communications Commission saying that Disney has been negotiating in bad faith. We may see something happen with Disney along the way. It is not looking good. If everyone was hoping that Monday Night Football, they'd be seeing Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and the 49ers, they were in for a rude awakening. And it does not look like we're going to see a resolution anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hosting a show here, Simon. I got to have ESPN in some way. But at the very least, I made some money off ESPN not being on DirecTV. Go figure. All right, Simon, thanks again for coming on. We'll talk again next week.
You got it, Craig. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the week.
All right, coming up next, time for some last licks. Manny Machado breaks a Padres record. We'll tell you what it is next.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. New movie coming out next year. It's going to be one of your favorites from Adam Sandler. We'll tell you all about that. Also, UFC, a new little wrinkle to their upcoming UFC 306 match. And we'll also dive into a San Diego Padres favorite. It's time now for some last licks. All right, did you know that Nate Colbert, I did not know until Frank just told me 10 seconds ago, was the all-time home run king by a San Diego Padre? I guess the Padres have just had so many players that are transitional players through the years. Like Dave Winfield was a great Padre, and he moved on to the Yankees and Angels and some other places. It seems like they've always gotten players either at the beginning or the end of their career. Juan Soto was there for a period of time. Manny Machado is now the all-time, how about that? The all-time Padres home run king. Is that 73? Is that correct? The all-time home run king? You know, he was a great member of the Baltimore Orioles for many years, then went to the Dodgers and then went to the Padres. And here's a very little known fact. This is absolutely true. Manny Machado was drafted in the first round by the Baltimore Orioles. And I believe it was right after, or maybe it was right before he was drafted. Right before he was drafted, his first interview that he ever did on television was with me. It's true. Absolutely true. You can ask him. He came down to my TV show once upon a time, did a 15-minute interview, and we talked about the draft and everything else. And then we asked him if he had ever been interviewed on TV for anything, and he said no. So that was his first ever interview. Congrats, Manny. 73 home runs. He's from South Florida. Manny Machado, all-time home run Padre king. All right, now a non-personal story, but a personal story as well, if you consider that Happy Gilmore was probably a top 2 or top 3 Adam Sandler movie. Maybe some people feel it was his best movie of all time. They are now doing Happy Gilmore 2. They're shooting it now. I believe it's coming out next summer, if I'm not mistaken. Happy Gilmore 2. And guess who was back for the movie? Yes, of course. It is Shooter McGavin going to be back for this one. And I think this is going to be probably one of the most must-see movies. Is this going to be in theaters or Netflix? Did they announce that? Because most of the stuff that Sandler does these days is usually on Netflix first. But I don't know. Either way, Shooter McGavin back for another round in Happy Gilmore 2. So it sounds like they're bringing back a lot of the cast. Did I see that Bad Bunny is the co-star in this movie? I think I saw that yesterday. So strange cast coming. All right, finally, the Sphere is hosting UFC 306, a huge event coming up in Las Vegas. And to no surprise, Dana Brown's put a little wrinkle in this. They're going to be showing around the Sphere during, before, and after the match different clips of movies. And Dana White says that within the movies and within the clips, they're going to have little, what we would call Easter eggs. For those of you who are not familiar, those are little hidden tidbits that they're going to have. And Dana White says that he wants to give a prize away of 5 figures or more to anybody who finds all of the different Easter eggs within the film, within the movies that they show right before, during, and after UFC 306. Pretty cool idea. For those of you unfamiliar with the Sphere, it is one of the more popular venues right now in Las Vegas. U2, the rock band, did like hundreds of concerts there. All of the big concerts are now there in Las Vegas as they build up, and soon enough going to have a Major League Baseball team as well. All right, so that'll do it for Last Licks. Now, we got some great programming coming up for you later today. In fact, 1 p.m. Eastern, Kaplan and crew are in the house, so make sure you stay tuned for them, 1 to 3 Eastern. That's followed by Scott Farrell, Coast to Coast, 3 p.m. Eastern. Game time decisions tonight at 6, previewing all of the action in the WNBA and Major League Baseball action during the day and night as well. And then tonight, we've got in-game live prime time, followed by Gabe and Sports Rage. That is your show tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. Also, want to thank all of our guests on the program today. Our friend Simon Applebaum of the podcast Tomorrow Will Be Televised, Matthew Waters from Legal Sports Report, and Mike DeCourcy from Sporting News. Our director today, as always, was Luke. Our producer was Frank. And if you missed my name from the beginning of the show, or you watching me for the first time, my name is Craig Mish. You can follow me on social media at Craig Mish. You can follow us at SportsGrid and at SportsGrid TV at the site formerly known as Twitter, now currently known as X. You can also download our SportsGrid app just by taking out your phone and scanning that little QR code on your screen. It is the SportsGrid app. It is completely free, has news, notes, information, videos, picks against the spread, and everything that you can expect from our SportsGrid network. That'll do it for the show today. We'll see you back here tomorrow for our preview of Thursday Night Football. Enjoy the rest of your day and night. See you tomorrow.